President Cyril Ramaphosa says it has been determined that growth must be inclusive and transformational. He says to address the country's unemployment crisis, government needs to fix struggling municipalities. Ramaphosa says this is because growth happens at a local level where people live and work. Visiting Professor Yanni Rousseau says the government of national unity needs to put more emphasis on economic growth.
We need higher economic growth because higher economic growth leads to job creation. So the single most important priority at this point in time for South Africa is to get higher economic growth so that we can create jobs, so that we can eradicate unemployment in this country. So a focus on more rapid economic growth for me is the most important element. Whether we've had promises about that or whether we will see action, only time will tell.
The Federation of Unions of South Africa, FEDUSA, is urging government to ensure that these promises translate into tangible actions addressing the dire unemployment crisis and job insecurity in the country. Ramaphosa says there will be job creation opportunities across different sectors in the country in the next decade.
Our country is undergoing a renewable energy revolution that is expected to be the most significant driver of growth and job creation in the next decade and beyond. We also have a unique opportunity to position our country as a major player in the digital economy and create jobs in digital services. We will invest in digital identity and payments, expand access to affordable broadband, and increase training for young people in digital skills. As we pursue these new areas of growth, we will continue with the far-reaching reforms.
Business Unity South Africa says the GNU must practice what it preaches on paper.
President also highlighted the importance of addressing the challenges at the local government level. This is where people experience government. We know that in many local municipalities, services are not being delivered because infrastructure is collapsing, as well as many other challenges. Making this one of the actions that the government will focus on aligns with the priorities that we had outlined and our expectations of the government of national unity. From a business point of view, we are happy with these priorities, and we now expect the government to get down to work and make these not just priority on paper, but a lived reality of all South Africans.
On the other hand, the Black Business Council is calling on accountability for wrongdoing.
The accountability should at all times come from the top. So the president should be able to hold the ministers to account. The ministers should be able to hold the DGs to account. The DGs should also hold people who report to them to account, and so on and so on. So the mere fact that there's a government of national unity on its own, it cannot necessarily bring the accountability. Accountability is an action by individuals. And if people decide not to take actions against those who are not performing and non-performers, and performance manage them, nothing much is going to change.
South Africa's unemployment rate recorded 32.9% in the first quarter, an increase from 32.1% in the fourth quarter of 2023. Nothando Makutulela, SABC News, Johannesburg.